cold beer in the fridge, one light over the front door shining on the welcome mat. The stars are bright, they look close enough to touch. The fireflies are out tonight.
It's that time of week again. We're gonna go for the 2 mile ruck. Been doing this now for about 5 or 6 weeks. I'm not sure how long, but just like the idea of doing something consistently and being able to kind of have a ability to retest. One thing I've always loved about CrossFit is that observable, measurable, repeatable component. So looking to just try to add a little bit of weight each week. I mentioned last week on an Instagram post I put up about knees feeling a little bit stressed out when I was doing the running style. And for obvious reasons, when you're putting an extra load on your frame, skeletal frame, and then you're running and you're putting all that impact on the joints, body's not gonna really like that. Now, obviously I could just keep powering through, or I could say, hey, let's listen to the body and make an adjustment. So one of the biggest things that I know I have to always try to navigate is how my body's responding, and then making sure that I'm, listening to it, and not just saying, oh, I'm just gonna power through. There were so many years when I would compete, going into the CrossFit Games, I'd have a calf strain or a hip flexor strain or hamstring pull that I was dealing with, or some shoulder aches. And so, being 40, one of those things I want to be a little bit more sensitive to is trying to feel healthy. I don't want to work out and be crushed. Obviously it's part of the journey of trying to get ready for the CrossFit Games, is putting your body through a ton of stress and trying to force your body to adapt and learn how to recover and come back and train again. But I think the key for me is finding a good training rhythm where I can push myself each week, I can see improvements, but I'm not feeling run down and burned out. Still got a lot of time to continually keep putting hay in the barn, and finding myself trying to hit a good peak, kind of optimum shape come August. So 2 mile ruck today. We're gonna go for just a little over 80 pounds. And again, just a 2 mile walk is the cadence, and should be somewhere right around 30-35 minutes. All right, we're gonna do a quick pivot here. A lot of times in CrossFit workouts, I've always liked increasing the loading as the workout goes on. And I realized that I didn't have as much weight in the bag as what I was planning for after I got rucking. So we're gonna swap vests. Oh. So now we were at 70 pounds. So I did a mile, just taking a quick little break. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to get this vest strapped up. That's all right. So we went 70 pounds for mile 1. We're gonna go, see, I got 50, so we're gonna go 95 for mile 2. Here we go. Right, 4:50 a.m. got ready to coach my class here in a few minutes, but gonna do one of my favorite parts of the day. Maybe it's the favorite part. Try to do 2 minutes cold plunge to get things started. All right, just a little over 2 minutes. Hardest part might be just getting my clothes back on after your body's half numb. But I got a couple minutes. I'm gonna teach 5 a.m. class. This is definitely one of the best ways for me to kind of wake up and just kind of feel fully alert. Plus it just helps kind of recharge my legs, get things rolling. Here we go, Monday. got Tuesday morning, got a little gap in my coaching classes and before I train a little bit later in the morning with a group. So I like to do sometimes just things on my own to just kind of test, see where I'm at. The workout I had planned today is just a good leg burner. Typically it's kind of a weakness for me. It's just something that's pretty intensive, squatting, lunging. I've always stayed solid on most of those types of events, but it's always an area where I'm like, I need to improve. So we're gonna test a Masters Games event from last year. 75 wall ball, 40 shoulder overhead with 2 dumbbells, 50s, 30 dumbbell step up and over, 24-inch box, holding the dumbbells in your hands, 40 snatches, so just 1 dumbbell at that point, just alternating arm snatches, and then 75 more wall ball. So it should be a pretty good test. We got Karen inside that workout, 150 total wall ball. The time cap was 15 minutes. These guys went at it last year. Should be a good test. Just got done hitting the Masters Event 6 from last year. Not real pleased with my my outcome on that. I kind of knew going into it that it was going to be a pretty good challenge. A lot of squatting, so that's always just kind of been a little bit of a weakness for me. I've always known I need to do more squat work. So probably the last couple weeks I've taken it a little bit easy on squatting. Because I had just a little knee tweak. Could be from the pause squats I was doing, could be from the ruck work I was doing. Either way, I just took some time off on the knee. Still hit some legs, but yesterday with squat cleans, it felt pretty good. Decided to go for some more below parallel work and some more knee flexion today. And legs felt good. It didn't like hurt or anything. Just was noticeable. It's just noticeable, just fatigue in the quads. And then once the legs, I feel like, start to get tired, then the back starts to get extra tired. Gives me something to work towards. And, good thing the CrossFit Games aren't tomorrow. So get back on the grind. Gonna work on some back squats now and some lunging and just a little bit of echo bike, just to put a lot of blood pump into the legs and just kind of build some toughness and continually work on that stronger foundation. So time to go train some more legs after legs. Faith for us here. I asked for strength and God gave me difficulties to make me strong. I asked for wisdom. God gave me problems to solve. I asked for courage. God gave me dangers to overcome. I asked for love and God gave me troubled people to help. My prayers are answered. My prayers were answered. I hope that we are regularly asking God to give us vision and capacity in all those areas. Courage, strength, wisdom, love. Right? These are great, beautiful attributes that God has sown into our DNA. And we can really only allow those attributes to flourish when they are tested. We know we can only get you stronger when we hit points of friction with barbells in our hands or kettlebells in our hands. We know we can only increase your cardiovascular respiratory endurance when we are working on intervals and we're shortening up that tight window of rest and recovery, right? And so what a beautiful picture we get. The fitness side of things, right? We know we have to lean into hard times and we have to intentionally pursue components to develop areas. Up through that is our faith as well. We have to walk in some of those tough, tight zones and phases of life in order for those areas to increase and grow. All right, today's workout, we're gonna throw it back to 2019 CrossFit Games. We have Ringer 1 and Ringer 2. This was an event I did not compete in, but it's kind of simple on paper, but it's a good challenge. So we have 30, 20, 10 calories on the bike and then toes to rings. So a little different there, not toes to bar. They had a time cap of 7 minutes and then reset and then did Ringer 2. So 15, 10, 5 burpees, jump to ring and touch, overhead squats at 135.95. Here we go.
Nothing quite like a simple bike sprint, small rep gymnastic style workout to throw at the CrossFit Games. I didn't compete at the games this year, as I said, but I just like the simple couplet style workout. Obviously, it's just tried and true CrossFit style methodology. It was all about the sprint, see if you could go unbroken. I was pretty happy with how my score turned out on this. However, I wasn't at the games that year doing all the other events, compounding all the stuff for the weekend, but overall it was a great test.
All right, so on the back half of this ruck right now, and something I've been honestly struggling with is a good game plan. So I mean, I know I'm preparing for the CrossFit Games. I know I'm preparing for the tactical games, but like truly saying, all right, what is going to be the absolute best strategy to be in my optimal peak shape? And reason why I know that this is so important, this past week, I just felt totally burned out. Like eating, nutrition wise, I feel like I've been really dialed in. Sleep could be better. Training has been awesome. Like I've been hitting it super hard, but I just was totally crushed. Like back was hurting, knees were hurting, just totally crushed. And it just reminded me, I'm like, Graham, you need a plan. I need a better plan. So something I like about these rucks is it just gives me a chance to kind of get my head right on what I need to be doing better. And kind of been working with a couple guys on strategizing on what that lead up needs to look like. So definitely plan to share some more details on that in the coming weeks. But the idea really kind of falls into like a deload week and kind of backing off the intensity. And these rucks are such a good tool for that, just because it kind of forces me to stay zone 1, zone 2, but I'm also still getting good recovery. I'm getting a ton of blood flow, and that's, I think, where the key is like making sure that as I'm 40, that I have a good plan, that I have a good strategy. And it doesn't just resonate only with fitness. Like, do you have a good plan and a good strategy as a husband, as a dad, as a business owner. And if you don't, it's a good thing to kind of stop and reflect on how you can improve upon your daily rhythms and routines so you can be the best dad, husband, father you can be.